What's up, beautiful people? Welcome to a new episode. I have here with me today a very lovely person who I went to high school with. So we go back a long, long way, or many, many years at least. We won't say how many. We'll keep it to ourselves, but please welcome in your house, wherever you're listening, welcome Alexandra d'Archambault. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
From what I know of you right now is you are a politician, you work in corporate, and other than that, you are a golf fanatic.
Yes.
Yeah, because you have a whole page where you talk about golf and you make content around golf. And so I'm very curious to know all about that sports. Let's start with the beginning. The first question I always ask the people that come to the podcast is, who are you as a person?
Well, so I've always had very, multiple interests in life, and I explored many of them. I started out as a lawyer. Actually, I studied law after high school because, our paths, we did not cross paths for a very long time. So it's the first time catching up again. So I studied law. I thought I'd be a really great lawyer because I love to talk and I love to do, defend my case because. And I loved that part. I just didn't like the, looking for answers part, like going deep into files and spending like 1 week to try and solve a very complex problem. I felt like that was less me. And, it took a lot of efforts to try and finish my internship, the 3 years that I did. So what kept me going was trying to find, hobbies on the side and that would give me energy. And back then I started politics already when I was 20 years old. So
politics is a thing that will give you energy?
Well, it hasn't always. It's going up and down. It's like even now, like right now I'm in a very high energy phase, but I've had moments where I was like, I need to stop going to meetings because I'm going to crash. So I think that the lesson definitely that I've been learning since my whole professional journey is to weigh in the effort I want to put into something and make sure that I get more energy out of things rather than burn up. So that's a very difficult balance for me to keep, but I'm very mindful of that.
Absolutely. And that's so wonderful. And I feel like us, the millennials, we have figured out the formula of being happy, thriving in what you do, discovering your talents, and also just being graceful to yourself. Like, you don't have to have this perfect life where everything is always 100, you're happy all the time. No, like, life is up and down. It goes from being super great to being super shit. And we just deal with it. We pick ourselves back up. That's what you do on the daily, I guess.
Yeah.
In politics, for sure.
100%. I think to add to that, I think we're the first generation that took indeed mental health more seriously, like talking openly about going to the therapist. I've been going myself as well since I was 27.
Same.
And yeah, I mean, I think it's a really good thing, and we laid out the path for Gen Z to make it even better. But it does mean that we're still, I think you have the same, like, struggling sometimes with, generational trauma that comes from our parents that never dealt with anything. Yes.
We don't have enough time on this podcast for that.
We have to return and
you have to come back.
Yeah.
The fact that you just said, like, I have a Congolese background.
Yeah.
And obviously you have that generational trauma of having your parents migrate from a whole other country, a whole other continent, coming here, learning the language, blah, blah, blah. And then for you to say, for someone who is from Belgian descent and all of your ancestry is more or less from Belgium, for you to also say that you have that generational trauma, it just confirms that, we're all just humans and we need to be graceful towards each other because we don't know each other's backgrounds and we don't know what each of us has been through to get to the point that we are today. Thank you for that.
Funny because it's actually also the biggest misconception about me because I have a fancy last name. So everybody's like, but it's like, oh, she's a rich kid. She got spoiled by her parents and everything. While the only thing that I remember, is like I worked so hard to get where I am today. I did student jobs when I was 16. Like I paid for my own gas for my car. Like I bought my, my scooter when I was 16 with my own money.
Oh, you
So,
did?
yeah. So like, I mean, it's just, it's so annoying that just people based on, what type of family you would come from and based on your last name and the fact that I speak French at home, people automatically are like, oh, she must be rich.
Yeah,
Like
elite,
she
Belgian,
has
yeah.
not, and she plays golf. Yeah, that's also a big message. She plays
Girl,
golf.
you're not giving people a lot to work with. Like you're just giving ammunition. She's in
Exactly.
politics. She has a French last name. She golfs. She's blonde. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure that's also a thing.
I know.
Yeah.
So perception is so hard to deal with because at the end of the day, like you can even like on Twitter, like X, it's the biggest, platform that is people just anonymously like trolling behind their screens and just based on a perception that they have of you, they will judge you and you can answer them and be like, no, but I work really hard. Like I work 50 hours per week, but they will never even listen. So sometimes I'm just like, why am I even bothering anymore? They won't vote for me anyway. Like I don't need to prove my case to them. But it's
Absolutely.
hard. It's hard to deal with that. Yeah.
How do you even manage to have a full-time job? Because actually you're an elder woman
Yeah.
in the community or district of Wilrijk, which is a district here in the province of Antwerp. So how do you manage all that? Because I also worked in politics. For those who have listened to the previous podcasts, I worked in politics. I'm not going to say that I hated it, but I know that how politics works right now is not for me. I'm too much of like how we say in French, bisounours. I want people to be good. I want everyone to feel good. So I need like a warm environment. So that's shark mentality, or you have to have thick skin. I don't want to have thick skin. I'm a soft girly and I want to be treated softly. And I want us to go about this life softly. That's it. So to come back to my question, how do you manage having a full-time corporate job with being an elder woman, which is also a full-time job, basically, being a content creator, which is also very, very exhausting. And then you golf.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about golf, so I don't know if it's relaxing or exhausting or whatever. But yeah, just managing those four things.
That's a really loaded question. It's a lot of scheduling. I'm not good at that actually. I'm in my trajectory as well to like getting ADHD diagnosed. Because people were asking me like, how do you do this? And then I realized like it's just like the way I am. Like I need to find, new challenges to keep my mind entertained. So that's why like the puzzle started clicking. That I was like, the more I looked into ADHD, I was like, I think that's me, which could explain a lot, like why I have all of these interests. But then bizarrely enough, obviously my full-time career like pays, most of the bills. Politics started out like very small. Obviously, I was just, I was a counselor. You don't get paid that much. You do still go to meetings because you still have this ambition, like I want to grow. I need to talk to people. I need to get reelected. So it's a constant hustle. But because I was not paid a lot to do it in the beginning, I never saw it as a job. It was like a hobby, which made it easier, I think, for my mind. Because when I tell you, like, I work 50 hours per week, it's probably even more. It's just that I don't count the time I'm actually doing my political meetings because it's so part of my whole identity and who I am that I don't see it as work.
It's more like a calling. It's like teaching or being a doctor.
Exactly.
You don't really do it for the money.
Exactly. So obviously now I get paid because I do I have all these extra responsibilities. But I see it more like as a management role. Like there's a whole people, obviously working for the, the town that will tell you, well, I'm responsible for streets, so the roadworks. So they're like, oh, there's a hole in the street. Like it's going to cost that much. Like, what are we going to do? Do we change the whole street? Do we just, fill the hole? So it's more of a yes or no decision. And if you're well surrounded, and this is something also I learned obviously throughout the years, also with friends, it's throughout your whole life. But when you're well surrounded, it really helps to get the workload down. Like I would not write my own emails. I like asking you like, write out the email, I would like check it, and then I send it out. And that's how, it's as if you have your own company, like you would hire people that could actually do that. So I'm very grateful, obviously, for all these people that are supporting me. It's almost election time in October. And now I have to create a whole
for
team.
you.
Yeah,
I'm
for
just
me.
thinking about June. I don't even care about October.
No, sorry. Yeah, it's June. June is first, but I don't care about June.
Yeah, you don't care about June.
It's all October. So I need to find like people that want to be on the list. And I want to find...
We're going to get into that.
Yeah. And it's as if I'm creating a company. Because I need to work on mission, vision, what are we going to tell? How are we going to market this? How are we going to present ourselves? Who are we targeting?
Yes.
And then attracting talent that wants to work for you for free.
For free. These people on the list, they do that for free.
I mean, it is crazy. And I have to do everything, like top down, scratch. And obviously, they
Why
can
do
help
you
me
have to do that?
Because
as an
I'm the
elder woman?
first on the list. Obviously,
Oh, that's your job as the first on the list?
technically, it's my job. Like,
okay.
I'm also the one getting paid. Like, I can't really...
Okay, yeah. I thought it was just something of the party itself, of the political party.
Oh, no, that's a misconception. They will help you with some stuff and maybe even pay for stuff. But most of it, like, I do myself. Obviously, I get help, but
yeah.
I have a team, but yeah.
So because you are number one of the list, you have to make sure that your list is consisting, that type of person that can do this for the community, that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Obviously, I ask help from other people. Like, do you have people potentially to be on the list? But if the list is not full, like, I'm the responsible. You know what I mean? Like, it's on me.
And what is a full list?
We need to have 25 candidates, but that depends on how big your town is. So it's everywhere with and 50% men and women, which is really hard.
That is really hard.
Yeah.
Let's get into politics. So first off, how did you, well, you already told that it was just your passion and etc. How did you, or when did you know, like, okay, this is something that I'm going to do for...
I didn't.
Okay, you're just like still enjoying the ride.
Still in doubt. No, I do remember I was very, very political in my beliefs. Like I knew, I think I was 17 the first time all my classmates could vote because I'm born in December.
Oh, yeah.
So we had the school debates and everything. And I was like, I can't vote. I want to go vote. And I was really like, pissed off about it. And then the next election, like the first election I could vote, they actually, I don't know how they got to me, but they sent me a message on Facebook. And the right party, so Open VLD sent me a message.
Well, the Liberal Party.
Well, my party. So they sent me a message on Facebook, like, do you want to be on our list? And it was so weird because anyone could have sent me a message. But they did, and then I said yes. And before I knew, this was very last minute because I think the election was, well, mid-October, like now. And this was like end of August. So I think 2 weeks later, they had to like,
announce
the full list. And there were like 2 spots empty. So I was literally just filling up a blank. And I don't think anybody thought I was going to be elected, but I got elected.
How many votes did you?
Back then, 250.
Okay, which is nice. Like fill a room with 250 people. Trust me, it's very hard.
Yeah, it doesn't seem much, but indeed,
it's really hard. Okay, but good. So what I want to know is, these people contact you because you told me that you wanted to vote, but you were too young. So basically, you were voting, or the first time that you could vote was in your 20s.
Yeah, I was 20.
You were 20.
I voted for me.
Sorry?
The first time I could vote.
You voted for yourself also. So that's nice. But then you get that message, which for me is also like a very weird concept of people, and maybe you can elaborate on that, of people just reaching out to you to come on your list and maybe not really think through, or what was the thing that attracted them to you? Do you know that?
No.
They never told?
I think it was because I was at like scouts, what is it, like Girl Scouts?
Girl thingies.
And I was I was in the advisory board of like the new playgrounds of that specific town, because it's actually not the party from my town that contacted me, but from the town next door where I was in Girl Scouts.
Okay.
So they probably saw my name on the advisory board list, and they probably just reached out. I think it's that. I never really had a full answer.
Yeah.
But I mean, either way, I said yes, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I'm now in the same position where I have to find people. So
Yeah. This is my personal opinion.
yeah.
We don't need political parties anymore. That we just need to be able to vote on ideas and then figure out a system to have people do what we voted on. Instead of, because I feel like we're going to end up in a coalition anyways, in Belgium at least. I think maybe you can contradict me on that. But we're going to be in a coalition anyways. And the good thing is about these coalitions is we all want to work on the same subjects. How we're going to work on it, that's obviously for each their own, just as it is with individuals and citizens. But we need to find a way to work together anyways on something. So whether it is safety, whether it is education, whether it is healthcare, we want the same things, I think. Grosso modo.
Yeah. I don't want to tax the rich, but that's
Yeah.
sorry, that was a joke.
Taxing them, we'll get there. Maybe we'll get there. Because also your party, Liberal Party, money.
We want to tax less. No, just continue, sorry.
I do want to tax less.
Yeah.
But is it still necessary to be voting on political parties? And do you think maybe in the future there's a way that we can step away from this particracy?
So yeah, first of all, political parties have way too much power. I'm in the national board of my own party since like recently. I got elected for it, and
Congrats.
thanks.
That's nice.
And so I'm now sitting in this room with like all these big politicians that everybody knows from like last 30 years, from like Herman de Croo, Karel de Gucht, like really, like these very
ancient mastodons from
from Belgian politics, which is like kind of intimidating when you're there for the first time and want to say something because they look at me like, who's she? Like,
and you're like
girl.
super young for them.
Yeah.
You're just at the start.
Exactly, but everything. I feel like it's not only a problem for Opvelde, it's a problem in every single party, but I feel like every single thing is put in place for all these people to stay in power for a very long time. So what I do like, they actually changed the law for the local elections. There's no more voting on parties. So you have to vote for a person. So obviously if you're lazy, you're gonna just click the first person on the list, but at least it gives people an opportunity to think about it more and to vote more on a person. And I don't know why they didn't change it nationally.
Yeah.
Because that could change so much. I would make such a difference because now the party already decided who's going to be elected. And that is wrong on so many levels.
So many levels.
Yeah.
Because what is the point of us going to vote then? Because I know a few people who they are sure of their space in Brussels Parliament.
Yeah.
They are sure that they're going to be an elder man or woman in this community. And we haven't even voted yet. So what is the meaning of this democracy? Is it even worth anything? I mean, it is, but as you said, there are systems in place right now to keep certain people in power. We see that globally. We always pointing fingers, especially at the continents, African continents. But the same thing happens here. But because we have that word or we have that system of democracy, I feel like we're hiding behind, or it's just hidden behind this democracy wall. And it's actually like it's rotten inside. For me personally, how I saw politics, it's really rotten inside. And of course, you have good people who are really trying to change things. Yeah. But there are so many more people.
They don't get heard.
Usually. They don't get heard, or they get
I'm one of
those.
I'm one of those first.
Like they get kicked out, they feel uncomfortable, or they get burned out because they want to do so much and change so much in so little time, or the time that is granted to them. And it's just horrible because we pay a lot of taxes for a lot of things that to me is logical, and the fact that it's not working the way that it should confirms that political parties or politics as it is right now in Belgium needs to be reformed
Yeah.
ASAP.
Yeah, 100%. I think it also starts with how political parties are financed, for example. So yeah, they have a whole institution that they need to keep up. So they're not gonna, nobody's gonna vote them less money. You know, like,
Can you explain how they are financed?
yeah, so
for
the
the people who don't know?
taxpayer pays for political parties depending on how big they are. So what you see, obviously, like for my party, for example, we're like in a yeah, it's a crimping scenario, like a shrinking.
Yeah.
We're shrinking. We're getting
It's
smaller.
imploded.
We're getting smaller. So yeah, obviously everybody's gonna like fight for the last straw, and that's like what you see. And but it also, it's the same for people working there. Like there won't be money to pay as many people, so you're gonna. It's actually pretty cruel because the people obviously working there don't really have anything to do with the system. But
Yeah.
yeah, people will get fired, and it happens every election. Like if you're not a minister anymore or secretary of state, you lose your staff. So these people need to be relocated, and it's a constant, switching board. And also, people working in politics, by the way, don't get as much social security protection. Like they can't just,
No.
go. So it's really bad for the people working for the parties. I feel bad. I feel bad for them, but also, I think everything's related and everything needs to be, reviewed.
Is this the
Yeah.
time to do it though?
Is it ever?
I mean, we'll never know unless we get started.
I do have to say, when I look, I can't speak for other parties, but I think this is an issue that is everywhere. But when you see, for example, how indeed the party board consists of still like the older people, like the whole system, that is something political parties can change internally. Like there is no law telling them how they need to organize themselves. So I think that if every political party would already, make their homework and try to see like how will we be able to put new people in good spots to be elected, that would be the first step. But then again, they're the ones that choose who's going to be on a good spot. So as long as, the only thing basically you can say is to everybody don't vote on the list. Go do some research. Like if you want to vote, I don't know, any party, go see who's a candidate, vote for that person, don't vote on the list. Because that's the only bias that I think the paradox I do see, like people are complaining about the system, but they still vote for the list. But then again, not everybody is as educated or busy with politics, so that's also an issue. So I'm just happy that locally it doesn't exist anymore. It gives a level playing field. Obviously, if you're a bit more down on the list, it's gonna affect you in some way. But if you have like a lot of, a big support system, and you are in scouts and you know a lot of people, or you do some kind of other activities, and everybody knows you in town, then you might as well end up being elected.
Exactly.
And that's the fun part is, even though I decided not to, be a candidate for June anymore, I'm actually really happy I can focus on, the local town, because I feel that there I do have an impact. I think that's such a difference, because you said that you felt like you couldn't, do what you wanted to do with it. I think that's what draws a lot of people back to local politics. You've seen that a lot of people in politics recently said, I'm quitting my national mandate, I'm going back to wherever I came from, my town, and do politics there. And everybody was like, what's wrong? Well, it's because there's something not moving nationally.
Yeah, and you can do things concretely, and you see the work being done in the legislative that you are in.
Yes.
Not 10 years after or a couple years
It's
after.
more tangible.
Exactly. And that's what we need right now, because the world is going loco, and we need to hold on to things to believe in and actually see positive change, especially when people get on stage and promise certain things. It's only normal for citizens to reclaim those things and be like, hey, you said this and this and this, where it's at right now. How do you think that we can help citizens globally, educate them more or make them more interested in politics? Or is politics just by default boring?
Well, what I try to do, but that's like my way. Like I just try and, now I try to make TikToks. So because I know that the younger generation, like Gen Z, is not watching the news like we might have done before. Like there's this whole generation, like we all live on our phones. So it's not that I'm always gonna put down something like, oh, today I'm gonna see for that road, or like be very, into the subject, or this is my opinion about that. But I more want to like show that I'm a human being with indeed my passions and what I care about. Like I lost my cat this week. Like I posted about my.
I'm sorry.
He's back. He's back.
Ah, okay. I
Also,
thought
I'm
you lost
fine.
him as in
No,
he
no.
was...
Oh, no. Like I lost it. Like he, I don't know. He ran away for 5 days, and I posted this on my TikTok. So people are like, "Why would you post that? It's like nothing to do with politics." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I want to
more
show
than
that
a politician.
Yeah, and I think that we need to see more of the human behind the politics, which would also help to soften down, I think, the dialogue. People are still like very rude. People called me, I think, fat on my last video. Like she's got a lot of meat on her and stuff like that. And then somebody else said, like, can we vote you off the list? And
Oh my God.
yeah, I mean, the weirdest thing that people would always say that, but it's just that I try and be accessible, and I feel, or I wish that everybody in politics would be more that way. But being accessible means also they can hurt you more. So
Or ask you certain things, or ask you for accountability.
Yeah. And the more they know about your private life, the more you're going to be attacked of it. Oh, she plays golf. Oh, she must be rich. You know? Like if I'm rich, I would have a house. I'm renting. I can't afford an apartment. But yeah, so...
and imagine this was your profile, but then you are a socialist. That would not fly.
Oh, no. Well, it flies with Connor, though, with his expensive sneakers. So, but that's... Men get away with things also way more often than women do in politics.
Always have.
Always.
One thing that I remember from your political strive or your quest is living single in Belgium. Because every politician has like their one thing that they talk about all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's mandatory, but
No.
like if you follow politicians, that's their topic.
Yeah.
And for Alexandra, singleness pops out.
Yeah.
So my first question is, are you still single?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but people...
I'm sorry.
Okay, it's good. Yeah, sorry. I didn't want to stigmatize it. No, it's good.
It's a joke.
You're single, you're thriving.
Thriving.
Are you ready to
baby.
mingle?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, she's ready to mingle.
Dating.
She's on TikTok. Go find her.
Yeah. No, so to come back also when you said, how do you combine everything? Well, I'm single, so I don't have a relationship to entertain. It helps.
It helps.
Honestly, if you ever find yourself in a position where you need to hustle, build your career, like really want to combine a lot of things, being single helps immensely. I think that it gives you a lot of headspace as well, like, and room to work on your own without having to deal with someone else's issues. So on that topic, no, but seriously, like on that topic, it's actually not a bad thing. And you have to face your problems head on. So it makes you grow as a person, I think, way quicker being single than if you would have done, if I would have done my 20s being in a relationship. I don't think I would have ever been in therapy if I would have been in a relationship right now. So that's...
Because there's a certain comfort in
I
having someone and just talking to them the whole time.
Yeah.
Even if you feel misunderstood, possibly.
Well, but then I'm not sure then if you're in the correct relationship. But yeah, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been in one, so I can't really comment on that.
That's funny. I can't remember how it's like.
I can't remember what it's like to be.
I'm sorry. No, okay, but so you work on singleness. Singleness is a very big thing. Why is that? Is that because you lived it?
First of all, I just as a little side track. When I was talking to potential candidates for the list, and I'm talking really young people, like 20 years old, same age I started, they were like, but I don't know, if I want to be in politics because I don't really know what I want to change it. Like, what's my, what's my topic? And then I always reassured them, I'm like, you don't need to have a topic yet. Like, you can just want to change something, and you may have some ideas, but don't pin yourself down on something. I think it took me, I've been in politics like 12 years. I think it took me a full 6, 7 years before I landed on being like, oh, there's actually issues that frustrate me for some reason. First of all, I needed to be single because I experienced it. I needed to go live by myself. And all of these things combined made me, want to speak out about some issues. I wasn't earning a lot of money back then. I was really struggling to, make ends meet while I was seeing my friends around me buying houses. I'm still renting an apartment. And then now I'm, faced with the other, so regardless of the issues that still surround, the fiscal treatment of politics, because obviously we're taxed way too much. There's way too much. There's also such big societal pressure still. And politics is more than just want to change rules. It's also about creating a new mindset, opening the path of others. And I think that sometimes we forget that. But if you can be inspiring enough to change people's minds about topics, then I think you're a better politician than somebody that changed the law. So I'm trying to also, the whole misconception about, I made some TikToks also about it, and I see it in the comments that it's still so misunderstood. For example, I was really miserable being single in my 20s, so I decided to travel a lot, and I spent a lot of money on travel, which made me happy. But it also means that now, obviously, I did not save up a lot of money to buy an apartment or a house.
In this economy,
I know.
who has, what is it, 35% or 30%?
I know. It's
Bye.
Yeah. So I got a lot of comments like, oh, you're 32. How did you not save money, all this time? Well, I don't know. A few years back, did not earn what I earn today. Like, obviously now I earn some money, but I did not in my 20s. And I had other priorities. And the fact that I talked to a lot of single people, they told me the same thing. Like, yeah, I've been traveling. Like, I needed that, to not feel alone because you feel misunderstood, and people are like, why are you single? Like, why are you not buying a house? And you just, want to meet more like-minded people. And the people you meet while traveling usually are people that are very aligned with, well, I was lucky to meet some people, but they're aligned with your vision on life. And it's a place where you feel more understood. And that was it for me. So that's also like, the more you're trying to talk about, these issues, the more I want to feel, first of all, that other people are like, oh, thank God I'm not alone in this, which is very important, but also try and make people that have been in a relationship for years understand that their choices are not my choices, but I should not be judged that much over them because I'm not judging them. Nobody's ever gonna judge somebody that's in a bad relationship. But they will judge me being happy. It's like, yeah, she's holding on, for a kid, and it's fine. They just bought a house. Like, how she's not gonna, get away from this. But they're like, well, you still didn't buy an apartment, and you're still single. And why are you still single? And why did you not buy an apartment? I'm like, why do we have in Belgium this path? If I would be living in London right now and I'm 32 and single, that would be normal.
Is it?
Well, a lot of people at that age are, yes.
Yeah?
Still.
Okay.
Yeah, certainly in London, yeah. It's way more normal.
Okay. Because I feel just generally, globally, from a certain age, is just a general expectation that women need to have certain things. And for men actually as well, but for women it's harder because we have a biological clock ticking. Babies. And if you want babies, then, and if you're single until a certain age, it's just hard. What was I going to add? Yeah, the fact that you're single and so you're working on that topic, does that give you more fire to actually make change? Because you said like you advised the people that came on the list that they don't have to have one specific thing. But I feel like if you're going into politics, by default, you have a certain passion of change that you want to see come through. So you already have it. You already have the passion normally, because why else would you want to go into politics, right?
Yeah, but it changes. I think that, today I might meet someone and I would still be, passionate about the single topic because obviously I lived it for like 9 years now. But you can always shift.
Yeah.
I see a big shift right now, for example, that I am really passionate about the future of work. So everything like remote work related, digitalization, AI, because I also touch upon these subjects at work. And I just see that I really want to speak up about this more, because I think that company culture in Belgium also is not always super healthy, and I think we could do things differently. So this is a shift I see. And then you're gonna laugh, but when I was studying my first selection in 2014, I was in a relationship, I think, back then.
You
Maybe
think
not.
it was not memorable? Sorry.
But no, I'm pretty sure. Sorry, I think I was in a relationship, and then I was a young student, and at that point we were talking a lot about how pensions were not going to be payable anymore for our generation, and I was like, I'm just starting my career. Why am I working if I'm not even going to have a pension? And that was then my topic then, because it follows what, your values, what you're worried about. And so obviously if you change your mindset about something, you will change your views about some. We always say, there's a saying like, only the fools don't change their minds.
I don't know what
Yeah, that's like a saying. I think it's in Dutch or in French, it's like a better saying. But if you never change your mind about something, then there's something wrong with you, because the more you talk to people about certain things, it can adjust your opinions throughout life.
Yeah.
And in phases in life. So obviously you're always going to have this one topic, but it doesn't mean that you need to, okay, I chose a topic and now I have to stick to it. And that's what I try to tell like all the young people that are coming into politics. Just pick something that you value right now, but don't be worried it's going to shift throughout your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so your list, we talked about it earlier, it needs to be 50% women, 50% men.
Yes.
What is, for you personally, other criteria?
So specifically, we already have a lot of older people in our, I don't know.
More ripe. They're more ripe in age.
It almost feels rude to say. No, they're older. They've been with the party for a very long time, and I value them a lot. But I think that where I want to make the difference locally is I want to really come with like a fresh list, and I want more diversity also. On ethnicity-wise, like I really feel that's important. I don't want like an all-white list and everything, because I don't think that's representative neither for my party and what I stand for personally, but also not for the town that we live in and the country we live in. So that is really important for me. And what I do see though, and I see this in my company where I work as well, when we talk about diversity, my boss is Moroccan. He's the only male in our team, and we work in cybersecurity. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. So we're looking for a white male to join us.
For the first time. Go ahead.
No, but so I feel like, if you are, as a woman as well, I feel like I get to attract more women as well in politics. And I feel so good doing it. But that's like a big example that companies should take a look at, like the more diverse people that you have in your company, whether it's male, female, or ethnicity, etc. You will see it will attract other people, and you will create a more diverse environment. So, and in politics, it's no different. And it's just fun to see, the shift that I get to attract like these young women into politics. And those are normally like the hardest people to find. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing this. This is so cool. Yeah, I get super proud when I think about that.
That's nice, and you should be proud of that. Yeah. Speaking about the diverse thing and the ethnicity, what I noticed is, it's also the first episode of this season, that politicians, especially in Belgium, they tend to find these ethnic communities when it's time to go voting. But then afterwards, and that's what I said earlier about accountability, there is no way for that community to hold those people accountable, the people that they voted, because there is no entry anymore. Because the person that was on the list, more likely, I would say, this is not scientific, I did not research this, but I would say almost in 50% of the cases of people with a different ethnicity who get on those lists do not get any place at the table, and maybe they'll be like at the parties of the political parties, and they'll have a membership card, but they're not included anymore, or there's no really like place for them to learn more about the party and just stay active in that, you know, in that sphere of politics. And maybe in the next election they will get another place on the list, maybe higher. So I don't really see like a follow-up or a genuine interest in those ethnic communities for me personally. And I just feel like I'm tired actually of that instrumentalization of people. I'm going to speak for my own community, not that I'm a representative, but for the Black community, and that's also what the first podcast is about. It's literally called What's Up with Politics and the Instrumentalization of Black People. Because we've been talking, for example, about decolonization. I'm sick and tired about that word and about everything that goes with it, but it's like nothing concretely changed. And it's just simple things like the curriculum, what you learn in school about colonization, for example. How is it that we do not get on one line for that? Because it's literally just the history of this country as well. So why would we not want to put that in a curriculum? This is really a small example. But my main question is just like, how do we stop that instrumentalization?
So I don't have a personal experience with that, obviously. I do have to say, from my experience, obviously, I did grow up in a very privileged background, even though obviously I had my struggles and, you know, I had to work like anybody else. So about the misconception I said earlier. So I was never really in contact with people actually struggling through society. And politics actually helped me open up my eyes a lot more than if I would not have been into politics. So being a politician allowed me to, when I was, you know, last elections, I went to, and this is one of the memories that I have, that are very fond memories I have. I was invited in Borgerhout, which is a very diverse area in Antwerp, by young women from a Muslim background that shared their experience about not feeling that they could claim their space in public. And they were talking about how they were, you know, addressed in school, like teachers saying, you're not, you know, you're gonna fail. And I never understood that because I never experienced it. So talking, you know, coming like from, you know, that white privilege, I was like, oh, like this is like bad, but it makes you actually want to change things sometimes even more and do stand up for them. But it's at the same time, like I feel like if I would not have been in politics, I would have never talked to them because we literally, you know, live worlds apart. So where it all starts is, I think that in some way we would need to, I don't know how, I'm still thinking about that, but we need to be more in dialogue. And that's why I was invited to an iftar, I think 3 weeks ago, where I got to meet a lot of, also in Borgerhout, where I got to...
the 2 kilometer? Iftar?
No, it was after that. It was organized by Youth Unity Empowerment, it's called. And also obviously very diverse group. And they invited like politicians like from every single party except but obviously it's like they don't align with what they're doing. So yeah, they invited everybody and I talked to everyone, and then you realize like, oh, but there's also a lot of, you know, that brings us together. But again, it's because I'm a politician that I get to be there. I'm just thinking like, how do we get the actual people together? I think it starts with schools.
Absolutely.
I mean, Onze Lieve Vrouw College, very white school as well. So I never, you know, experience different things. So I think that we also don't need to underestimate how much people, like you'd say white privileged people, I don't know if I can call myself like that because it's also not the best word.
You have the white privilege, whether you want it or not, you have it.
Thank you. So yeah, I'll say it, but I mean, we're just ignorant in that way as well. So it's not bad to educate us, but I just don't know how to solve it. Yeah.
No, but the thing is also just, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And that's why diversity and inclusion is so important, because you need all those aspects to make this world right, quote unquote, for everyone. So if you don't know that these Muslim girls are struggling with taking up space, how will you ever
Solve that problem.
and represent them, even if you don't have the same background? And for me, that's also what representation is. For me, it's not about seeing a Black woman being the first president. It would be nice, but it doesn't change anything in the whole if the person that is in power or put in power can't change the status quo. If you're not being inclusive about the diversity, then it does not matter. And that's why I asked, like, how does it come that those people, they're on the list, and then 5 years after or 4 years after, you don't see them anymore, you don't hear about them anymore. And that's the inclusive part that is really missing.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to color your list.
Yeah.
But then what do you do after with it?
Well, the only thing I can comment on is that, well, from, again, my experience, is that we have this problem of retention after every election. It's like a general problem because obviously people
are
look
super excited.
People
and
are
then
super excited. They want to be on the list. You organize a lot of activities. You go to a bar, you speak to people, and you're like, I'm on fire. Like, it's election time. I'm on fire. You cannot stop me. I'm literally in every bar. I'm like, by the way, do you know this person? Oh, like he's first on the list in Antwerp. So we're at the bar together. I'm like, do you know him? Oh no, I don't know him. Yeah, he's great. And then he starts saying, yeah, so in Antwerp we have to do this, that, and I'm like, yes, great. But then the elections are gone. No more target. The next target is 6 years later. Do you know how long that is?
that is literally a lifetime.
It's like if you're at your job and you get a performance review and they tell you like, well, if you would work a little bit later every night, you might get promoted next year. And that's only a year. Might. And you're like, why the hell would I have to work later every single day for maybe getting promoted? Well, imagine 6 years. And that's exactly where these people are. And it is very hard to keep bringing interesting stuff without having drama. You don't want to have drama as a political party.
But then what does a political party do? And maybe that's also the thing. And that's why I think like it's not necessary anymore. I'm putting you on blast here, but it's not about you personally, but just because you have that experience in politics, is it even necessary? We talked about it, but then what does a political party do during all those years? Because you have members and okay, yeah, you organize the
cheese and wine.
Yeah, the cheese and wine thingies and you do your little conference, but what are you actually doing for your members? Because I feel like even if your party did not get the seats that you wanted in parliament, I feel like you can still do the political work locally. There's always someone locally who gets a seat or whatever, or just try to work together with other parties, even though it's really not done here, but just find a way to actually do what you said that you would do. Change what, in your opinion, is not working. It's really not rocket science.
I'm gonna say what I said, I think, in the beginning. Most of them are not paid. Most of them are not paid.
Okay, but then why? And also what I said in the beginning is like, it should be your passion, right?
Yeah, it is. But a passion doesn't mean you have to
work your ass off and be burned out. I get it, yeah.
I don't think people realize how much even for not being in national politics, like I do have some people know me from a more national level because I'm active on social media and X, but how much it affected my private life. Like a lot of people have mocked me throughout the years, like, oh, what is she doing? And you can see it. You can see how many people like forward your videos, and it's not because it got shared, right? Because it got shared in WhatsApp groups. Like, I think we forget how much you sacrifice. And I was elected, I was paid 75 euros back in the day per month, like in the total beginning. And I had to take shit for that every single day. So if people are asking, like, why are they not more, out there or getting more close to us? I think that there's also a lot of introspection that needs to come from the people will be either behind their keyboards or whatever, that we are human too. We also have families. Well, I don't, but we also.
But you have family.
I have family, but I mean, I don't have a family life.
Not your own family.
So, I mean, people have jobs because they actually have to earn money somewhere. And that a passion can't be forced. Like, you can't force people to show up on a Saturday and go somewhere,
No, and we talked about it. Maybe there's just too much misconception about what is politics, what is a politician in Belgium. And we need to find a way to really communicate what is the nitty gritty of what makes this world go round for us, except for money. But it's necessary. And I just feel like it's also politicians there, or the political parties at least, because they get money from the taxpayers. So they should be wanting to be as clear as possible about what their mission is, what are they out to do here in Belgium, how do they need to function, so that people just see it very clearly. But also, you said it starts with education. It starts at a very young age. So we need to find a way, maybe a legislative, to implement that in the curriculum. Why shouldn't kids learn about politics? Like, really get into detail about it. Because we learn about it here and there, but it's really not clear. And you don't remember it because it's so far from your bed, literally years. So it's not something, I feel like politics needs to be more incorporated in society's everyday life.
I feel that about a lot of things. Also money. How to do money.
Taxes. We need to know what these taxes are and how do we pay them.
For politics, I'm not sure if it's specifically politics, but I do think that we need to learn people something about more values, I'd say. What is important for you. Because that's what's going to make them pivot towards a certain, person or party.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't feel that it is talked about a lot, and certainly not openly. Like, people don't want to talk about it, or are afraid to speak up about it.
But it's literally like it's two of the three things that people do not want to talk about. First, religion, politics, and money.
Yeah.
So how can we even move past that? Education. My answer is education. You need to educate people from a young age. It starts really from...
But it also starts with parents, and that's where, it's all
But parents, they grow up.
Yeah.
Parents were children.
Yeah.
Once.
They still are.
They're still growing
they
up. They re-become children.
No,
that's the worst.
Up. Like, I mean, I hope so, that they're working on themselves. Well, that generation, a little bit less, but some of them
We are.
We are.
And we will.